When discussing Iron Man in relation to MCU, it's hard not to feel nostalgic. Iron Man was in fact the starting point for every other adventure that MCU brought to life. The character was the beginning of Kevin Feige's grand plan. Taking in mind the latest events related to this character, everybody thought that we were done with Tony Stark. But what if I tell you that the studio has another plan? Stay with me until the end, as I have some really interesting news to share with you. Now, let's jump in with a short recap. Iron Man will always remain one of the most prominent backbones in this universe, no matter how many years pass. 2 more sequels sparked the 2008 movie, and Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man's iconic actor, would ultimately appear in a total of 10 MCU movies. We all grow so much along with this character. Imagine having your own trilogy, and don't even mention how successful it was. Then, becoming one of the Avengers, mentoring Spider-Man, sparking a civil war with Captain America, and ultimately saving the entire Marvel Universe. Anyway, we all remember what happened in the Avengers Endgame. But as you already know, nothing is over in this superhero world. But since we're talking about another Iron Man solo movie, I'd like to turn back to the previous movie for a moment. The guy who made his bones writing The Last Boy Scout, Lethal Weapon, and many other action movies, Shane Black was the perfect person to take on Iron Man 3. I'm not saying this only because he worked with Robert Downey Jr. way back in 2005 on the movie Kiss Kiss, Bang Bang. When it comes to Iron Man 3, I can't say it was great, but because the tonal shifts are so abrupt, it's consistently evolving. I would say the story is dynamic. 1 minute seems to care a great deal about what's going on, while the next one is sneering at the notion that no one cares. This attitude seemed just about right for a franchise on the brink of fatigue, especially if we take in mind that all of the Iron Man movies with overlapping, often improvised sounding dialogues are more self-aware comedies than dramas. A girl and a couple of lame quips. That's all you got? A female assassin taunts Tony. "Sweetheart, that's the title of my autobiography," he replies. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Iron Man 3 is a lot more brutal than the old Hope Crosby pictures. The movie pits Tony against the Mandarin, an Osama bin Laden-style terrorist guru, with moments of wanton cruelty and lethal gunplay, in which pain and the laws of physics are largely theoretical. Its violence stretches the PG-13 rating to the breaking point. Tony survives supernatural body blows and high falls that would pulp a real person. But nothing could compare to the events from the Endgame. I know, I already told you we're not gonna mess there. But how can you not mention the death of our main character here? Therefore, we all started wondering if Tony Stark's death was going to stick. Chris Evans had hit that like button just like you should if you haven't done so already. No, really. He had said during the press tour for Infinity War that Chris Hemsworth and Robert Downey Jr. were more or less done after Endgame. Myself, Downey, Hemsworth, we all kind of started roughly at the same time, and I think we all, through Endgame, kind of wrap it up, said Evans for Good Morning America. If I'm honest, for a character like Tony Stark, knowing how he started and what kind of person he was at the beginning, and on the other hand, the sacrifice that he made to save the universe, well, this sounds like a perfect ending, isn't it? Legendary characters got to say goodbye in style and leave his legacy after his death. Anyway, let's now focus on what's coming up next. Let's talk about the release date for the 4th movie. In 2023, it will be exactly 10 years since Iron Man 3 was released. Isn't that too much? It's a long time gap for the most popular production house. We all thought that we'd get another movie sooner, and after the Avengers Endgame, they took our last hope. But as I said before, nothing is over in this world. So in the past few years, we were just gathering information related to this character, but none of them could make us happier than the one that I'm about to tell you about right now. At this point, it's safe to say that there will be another Iron Man solo movie. You'd ask, how would I know this? And that is totally a legit question. Let me put it this way. Robert Downey Jr., the actor himself, has confirmed this on The Ellen Show. I know, there's going to be a bunch more Marvel movies, and they have big ideas of how to do it best.
Will there be a 4th Iron Man?
I know there's going to be a bunch more Marvel movies.
So yes.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
Okay, good.
And you know, we're in the middle of negotiation. So, if you still have this question in your head, the answer is a resounding yes. Robert Downey Jr. is in discussion to reappear as Tony Stark, the billionaire playboy philanthropist. Okay, now that we have that settled, let's talk about the possible cast members. It's difficult to say anything regarding the future cast, as there is no official release date that's announced yet. And this is a pretty big franchise, so we'll definitely see some new faces. Fans are already crossing their fingers that Mark Ruffalo would join the cast, but who knows? First of all, it's important to mention that Tony Stark will be played by none other than Robert Downey Jr. Everything else wouldn't make sense. In the previous movie, we watched Guy Pearce as Audrey Killian, Ty Simpkins in the role of Harley, and Rebecca Hall portraying Maya Hanskeener. I can't say for certain who would return, but the rumors are claiming that a lot of the cast members are already ready to jump back and reprise their roles. And now, the most important question: what will the storyline be for Iron Man 4? Everything would have been different if Tony survived the snap in the MCU's multiverse saga. Tony Stark would surely have been a key player in the multiverse saga. If you ask me, figuring out how to use the quantum realm to travel in time. Stark discovered the secret of the time travel in Avengers Endgame. He'd surely have remained focused to smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. No, really, in all seriousness now, he'd surely have remained focused and interested in the idea, and he would have definitely tried to develop the technology, and in so doing, unlock secrets of the multiverse. At this point, it's hard to imagine a scenario where Iron Man survived Endgame. But in Marvel's What If Episode 9, there was a hint in which Killmonger wore a vibranium suit. He proved that he is able to absorb the energy of the Infinity Stones. So, Doctor Strange and maybe his carefully chosen words on Titan could conceivably have brought Stark to pursue vibranium technology in the gap between Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War. A Mark 85 suit made of vibranium would allow his survival, and it would have allowed Stark to use the Infinity Stones without harm. This way, Tony Stark would have gotten his own happily ever after. Sounds good, I must admit. Either way, I'm not really sure what the plot will be about, but I really hope that we'll get more official information very soon. Back in 2008, when Marvel launched their shared universe, casting Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark was a real gamble. All or nothing. But it seems like they got it all. It proved so successful, it set the tone for everything that came afterward. So if somebody deserves more, that is definitely Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark. Talking in the famous Joe Rogan podcast show, Downey Jr. said, "Avengers was another opportunity, but they're not talking about Iron Man 4. I was kind of bummed out, to tell the truth. But maybe they've got bigger fish to fry, and I trust their overall vision." The funny thing about these genre movies is, you'd think they were national secrets. And what about you? What do you think will be the main focus of this movie? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.